So the Copper Age drop is almost here with tons of new copper-related features. Oh, and shelves too. But even with all these new features, why stop there? Heyo, I'm Creato, and yeah, this drop is easily the best one we've had yet, but there's still always room to take things one step further. And since this drop is mostly themed on the new copper features, let's start there, because we're getting a brand new armor set made from copper, but it's kinda just meh. And I mean it's cool and all, but it just feels like it's missing something huge. Oxidized variants. Genius, I know, since this would make copper armor the first armor type to actually change over time. And this can be done in two ways, either by making copper armor oxidize as it loses durability, or by just having it oxidize as time passes. And while the time mechanic would work more like copper blocks, who cares about realism? I mean, it's not like that's the most important thing these days anyway, but in a good way, because having copper armor oxidize as it loses durability could bring in some new behavior. Think of it this way, the durability of copper armor would be split into 4 parts to match each oxidation stage, right? And each level would also change the way copper armor works, because what if the protection amount slightly improved with each oxidation level? And yes, I know oxidization technically makes copper weaker, but hear me out. Since copper isn't exactly the best armor there is, I don't think it deserves to get worse as it oxidizes. That way, you would actually have a reason to use your copper armor for a little bit longer before upgrading. And the same oxidation mechanics can also be brought over to copper tools as well, because they need some reason to exist at all. Because what if copper tools started off with a really fast mining speed like golden tools, but would lose their speed as they lose durability and oxidize? This would make copper tools start off with a big boost in speed, but would then run out after a long day of mining, and they can keep the same durability they currently have, with it also being split into 4 parts for each oxidation level. That way, you would choose copper tools over other tool types at first for the extra mining speed, until you eventually upgrade. Sorry, copper. But don't worry, because copper could still get more functionality with an upgrade to copper blocks. And you're probably thinking, oh great, more block variants, how original. Well, nah. Because what if copper blocks could send redstone signals through them? I mean, we already have lightning rods, which are made of copper and interact with redstone, so it only makes sense to bring more copper into redstone. And having redstone blocks actually able to send redstone power through them would make them a really useful part in redstone, since you could just set up a row of copper blocks and then power them and watch the signal reach the other end. And the copper blocks would also be able to power blocks in all directions, which would be different from a normal redstone line that only powers what it connects to. And copper and redstone doesn't have to stop there, because how about adding in a completely new redstone component made from copper with the copper pipes? This would work like hoppers, where they can move items around, but with some extra mechanics as well, because the copper pipes can move items faster than hoppers, and even pop them out at the nearest open pipe. And you could also power the pipes with redstone, and it would then dispense projectiles like arrows and snowballs. Because I don't know about you, but I would definitely use the copper pipes as a lava arrow cannon, for perfectly ethical reasons of course. But that's not all the copper pipes could do, since the pipes can also carry water through them, which means you can have pipes go over some farmland, and it would be able to keep the crops all hydrated, which lets you place down crops like sugarcane without needing a water source next to it, since the water drops from the pipes keep everything soaked enough. And you might think that's it for copper and redstone, but if you remember back when the copper golem was announced, it was supposed to also bring in copper buttons as well. And for some reason we haven't gotten them yet, but copper buttons with all the oxidation levels could bring a pretty neat update to signal duration in redstone, because each button would have a different power duration, with the normal copper button having the shortest press time and the fully oxidized button with the longest press time, which can be used for something like keeping doors open for longer so you can actually make it through in time, or to rapid fire TNT on a village below. Pretty neat, huh? And you know what would go perfectly with a copper button? A copper pressure plate, which can have similar oxidation behaviors as the buttons, but the copper pressure plates would instead give a redstone signal based on how many items are in your inventory, with different signals for each oxidation level of course. Because with the regular copper pressure plate, it would only activate whenever at least one item is in your inventory, but for each oxidation level that follows, you would need more and more items for the plate to activate, which can be used to make player-only pressure plates, since mobs don't have items and can't activate any of the copper pressure plates, so you can finally keep unwanted visitors out your home, which helps to separate copper pressure plates from the rest of the pressure plates, while still having unique properties for each oxidation level. Alright, I know this drop is themed on copper, but since we got the copper golem in this drop, how about the tough golem? Because it would make the perfect duo with both golems being able to interact with the blocks and items around them. But the tough golem would focus more on items, since you could give an item to a tough golem and it would then hold it up. This would be a pretty cool way to showcase your favorite items, with the tough golem still being able to walk around. And since the tough golem is, well, a golem, that means that you can build one yourself with a tough block and wool block with a carved pumpkin above. Plus, you could also change the color of the outfit that the tough golem is wearing by changing the wool block, which lets you customize your tough golem just that extra bit to make it feel more like your own. Alright, now back to copper, because how about we expand a bit more on the copper lighting blocks? And since we got new copper lanterns and torches with their cool new green color, I think being able to have this green colored fire on its own would be the perfect addition to see in this drop. Because we got regular fire on netherrack and soul fire on soul sand. So how about green fire on copper blocks? And not only would it be a new type of fire, but maybe the green fire could actually have some sort of practical use if it were to have a different light level than regular fire or soul fire, so that you can choose between the 3 fire types for how much light you want, in case you use actual fire to light up your build for whatever reason. And this new green copper fire would also pair perfectly with a new green lava variant, especially since we've always had the same lava type. And since green lava would also be related to copper, maybe it could be found in dripstone caves, where copper is more common, or maybe in a nether biome, which brings the opportunity for copper in the nether, now that it's a more useful ore, so it deserves to be found in the nether, if that's even considered a good thing. But maybe since this green lava is powered by copper, it could also have more unique properties to it, because it could be twice as hot, meaning it does twice the damage, which would make it a bigger threat to watch out for, and could add a new natural ambush while walking around in the nether, making sure no green lava starts pouring down from above. And hey, since we're already in the nether, hear me out on this, because we got copper horse armor that's sort of like a mini update to horses, right? So what if we also got netherite horse armor? You know, to finally complete the armor set for horses. This would just be a really small feature, since it would mainly be just to bring in a better armor type for your horses, which would also need to be made from a smithing table the same way as normal netherite armor is made. Plus, it would also have the bonus of being fireproof for those times where you really don't want to lose the horse armor. And while we're talking about more variants for items made from ores, why not also bring in gold chains? For building, not flexing, unfortunately. Because we got copper chains, which are the copper variant of iron chains. So why not gold chains, right? Because I think it would look pretty cool, especially for nether or fire themed builds, since the gold color works perfectly with nether bricks and blackstone blocks, and pretty much any other way you'd use an iron chain, but with gold chains instead. And the gold chains would work the same as iron chains, except a bit better, since the gold chain would match the warm color of the lantern better than an iron chain. And on a similar note, gold bars can also be added. Well, not the ingot type, because we got those already. I mean a golden variant of iron bars, which can have a bit of a fancier look to them, since they are gold after all. And these would also be functionally the same as iron bars, but with the golden color instead, which could be used in place of iron bars for those times where you want something that stands out a bit more. But really, it's just another variant of an existing block for decorative purposes and showing off. And if you're looking for an even better way to show off your items, then that would be with a new type of shelf. Because we got regular shelves which go on walls to hang up items, so why not also add in staircase shelves that can be placed on the ground? This would be similar to a normal shelf, except that staircase shelves have 3 rows with each fitting up to 3 items. And since these are still shelves, that means you would also still be able to swap items from them, but only one at a time, because normal shelves still need their hotbar swapping purpose. And these staircase shelves look great for showing off a group of items, since you can fit 9 of them, which makes them perfect for organizing your items into groups. Alright, so you've probably had enough of copper by now, but this is the copper age drop, so we need as much copper as we can get. So how about copper rails, which would be a balance between regular rails and powered rails, with the copper rails being faster than the regular iron rails, but not as much as the golden powered rails. This would give copper its place for transportation, since there really isn't anything that needs copper for getting around. But with copper rails, it gives another option to choose while still being unique from the other rail types. And with so much copper left over, it only makes sense to add even more copper variants of blocks and items we already have, like copper buckets, which would work the exact same as iron buckets, but made from copper instead. That way, you don't need to spend all your iron on making buckets, and can save it for other things you might want to craft instead, which also goes for a copper cauldron, since it'll also save you even more iron, since a copper cauldron uses more ingots than a bucket does. Plus, it also fits perfectly into any copper-themed build you have. Who would have guessed with something made from copper, right? But this copper age drop has already done so much for copper, and finally makes it up to level with the other ores. But what sort of other features do you want to see in this drop? Leave a comment with your ideas, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're scrolling down there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.